This city is a city where one instantly dislikes. I'm not taking names, but someone interviewed me. When I told her that I'm from Chennai, I could literally see her facial expression change.
Okay, good evening everyone, and welcome to a very, very special evening. An evening of conversations, connections and collective pride. Welcome to the 4th edition of Super Chennai Arattai. This is a conversation with a purpose. And today's conversation is particularly special because I feel so connected to be able to speak to a very dear friend of mine whose journey I've had the privilege of documenting from nearly 2 decades ago. So firstly, I want you all to give a big round of applause to Vivek Karunakaran. May I please welcome him onto stage. Thank you, Vivek. You see, in the context of fashion, if there is one name in Chennai that has consistently been, top of mind recall, especially for journalists like me, it has got to be Vivek Karunakaran. Many years ago in his ECR studio, Vivek, you remember that I interviewed you for India Today, I think.
Yeah.
And it was a longish interview, and I think it was really, his brand had just found its genesis. But I still remember vividly that by the time the interview was done, I knew that Vivek was going to go places. And while traveling, I knew that he was also going to make us, people of Chennai, really feel so proud that he, in a sense, belongs to us. A graduate of NIFT Chennai, Vivek began his career designing for European labels before launching his label, debuting at Lakme Fashion Week and steadily, quietly building one of India's most distinct design voices. Over 22 years, am I right, Vivek? Over 22 years in fashion, he has dressed celebrities and fashion conscious people aplenty, but I'd like to think that his most enduring muse has always been the city he chose to stay in and build from. Chennai's restraint, its understatedness, its cultural confidence, its jasmine-scented streets, and living textile traditions have really seeped into every silhouette that Vivek creates. For us, Vivek is not just a designer from Chennai, he is in many ways a designer Chennai has been waiting to tell its story through. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome once again Vivek Karunakaran.
Thank you.
Vivek, when I close my eyes and think about you, today I was just thinking about, there is a certain distinctness about the way you dress. And I'm always curious about whether in the context of a fashion designer, there is a certain core aesthetic that sort of defines you, Would you think as a designer, would you think it's a matter of great privilege when someone recognizes that, hey, this is a Vivek Karunakaran collection or this is a Vivek Karunakaran piece? There is a certain, many years ago I read a piece about how famous people dress in a particular way. And yet within this framework of what you've created, this core aesthetic, there is a constant sense of evolution. Tell me a little bit about this distinct design aesthetic that you've sort of, created, nurtured and sustained over time.
Good evening, and it is my privilege as well to be sitting here today in conversation with you, Akhila, and I'd like to take a moment to thank Super Chennai for having me today. Extremely humbled and ever grateful to be here today and to be in conversation with my dear friend Akhila. As I was sitting here listening to you introduce me, it took me back 20 years when I was sitting in my couch in my home soon after we had done the first Fashion Week collection. And boy, we've all come a long way.
Absolutely.
All of us, right? I see a lot of familiar faces here and it's beautiful just to see the journey. And I think what makes this journey extremely enduring is the fact that we are still here. We are very proudly here in Chennai,
staying
representing
the
city. Yeah. And taking away bits and bobs of what we were just discussing a couple of minutes ago. this city. This city is a city where one instantly dislikes. And give it a little bit of time, it becomes your home. And that is the beauty of Chennai. You just need to let it grow on you a little bit. And, I believe that it is on us to know this, to understand this, and to be empathetic towards every person who's coming into the city, because you know how instantly they are going to dislike the place because of weather, the language, our wonderful auto rickshaw guys who are ready to greet them, so far and so on. But I think we have so much to give, and it's a very beautiful, safe space for us to be us, and it allows you to be you and to be able to grow. My journey in Chennai started in, I think, 97. I still remember coming into the Egmore station with my dad, and I come from Trivandrum, and Chennai was a big city, and I look around and I wonder, how am I going to survive in this city? It's been quite a joyride. I remember living with my uncle in a little house, sleeping on the floor, to a one-bedroom space that we had in Kotivakam when I was staying in, when I was studying in NIFT. Extremely grateful to everything the city threw at me, and I'm so proud to be representing. And when I add that hashtag, making Chennai proud, I really mean it. Yeah.
Great. Vivek, tell me about your look.
That was the question, right? I'm so sorry.
No problem. This is a perfect introduction.
Yeah, so, I'm also going to share this. I'm going to keep it very, very candid and also share this with you that Shreya will know this. When I was in college, I think Shreya tells me that, what did you think? You thought you were Salman Khan, the way you were dressing up. I used to be all over the place. And then there was a point when I graduated and I joined my first job. I thought the only thing that I knew how to represent myself was to dress formally. So this was Vivek Karunakaran going to work every day wearing a long sleeve shirt, formal pants. Until one day my boss called me and told me that, Vivek, you're a designer. I think you need to dress better. It just shook me, right? That day, I remember that I went with Shreya to one store in Egmore and bought the brightest printed shirt that I could. And I've never looked back ever since. So that has been the journey. But, I think it is also about evolution. All of us come from different places, our upbringing, our conditioning. I think what is very beautiful is how each of us evolve with time, with place, and who we are surrounded with. I've been very lucky to be surrounded by a lot of very beautiful well-wishers around me in this journey, and I feel my aesthetic has also kind of evolved into what it is today through a constant yearning to be better than what I was yesterday. And I believe that is the key to getting out of bed every day and saying, I want to look better, I want to do better, I want to do more.
Right, absolutely.
So what you see here, this fiery red palazzos and a double-breasted jacket in the Chennai heat, is thanks to me fearlessly thinking that this is something that I own, and this is what I love, and this is who I am. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Vivek. The thing that I heard was also about how Chennai really lets you be, right? It allows you the room and the space to sort of be who you are. But also in the context of fashion, it's not the top of mind recall as far as the country is concerned, right? So to sit from here, right, to have this as your base and to spread wings far could not have been easy, right? Why did you, for instance, not choose to, when you were sort of finding your voice, why did you choose not to sort of relocate to a city like Bangalore or Bombay or Delhi, where one instantly knows that people are just more fashion conscious, probably a better understanding of the idea of fashion itself? Why did you choose to stay on here, stay the course in Chennai or from Chennai?
I think I'd like to maybe very quickly tell you a story about when we debuted at Fashion Week. We debuted at Lakme Fashion Week in the year of 2007. And before the show, while I was backstage, I'm not taking names, but someone interviewed me, and when I told her that I'm from Chennai, I could literally see her facial expression change. Her eyebrows went up and like, Chennai?
Really?
There's two things that stuck with me through that experience, not just the interview, but just my being at Fashion Week. I understood firsthand how the rest of the country looked down upon the South, literally and otherwise. And that is the day I swore to myself that I'm going to work my ass off to put Chennai on the fashion map. And that answers your question, why am I still here? And I remember, I don't know if it is the article that you wrote or what came after. I think one of the captions that came with me on the cover, this was many, many, many years ago, as soon as we started, was Vivek Karunakaran, Catalyst of Change. Right? You remember that?
Yeah.
That stayed with me because I am a believer of the fact that it is most difficult to get things going. You always have followers once you get it going, and that is why I have so much of appreciation for what you do, Ranjit. And for a lot of entrepreneurs who are here, as in my heart goes out to every person who's trying to make a difference, because I think that is the most difficult thing to do.
Absolutely.
And today, in the journey that I've had in the last 20 years, I've had my best friends and well-wishers. Every time they have a great conversation with me, ask me this question, buddy, why are you still here? You should move to Bombay. Because if you want to grow, that is the place to be. Yes, they are right. But had I done that, I would not have been sitting here as proud as I'm sitting here today, like I was a couple of weeks ago at Lakme Fashion Week, so proudly, unapologetically, having a Tamil poetry being said and that platform and showing a collection which is all in all out South Indian.
Absolutely. Did you happen to meet that same journalist, unnamed journalist that we were talking about?
I think, yeah, she wasn't around, thankfully.
Okay. Vivek, with great decisions like that, decisions to stay on, also comes great responsibility, right? And you talked about entrepreneurship and how hard it can be, especially when you don't come from, there's no like legacy or anything like that. You have to like start up from scratch. What would you say to other young, entrepreneurs, especially in the context of fashion, who are trying to like start up? What is the one piece of advice you would give to them?
I think, belief is one of the strongest foundation, because it's only if you believe in yourself can you get, or do you become a leader who is going to influence people to believe in what your vision is. I think the tenacity that you need to have to get out of bed every morning, like I told you before, to go and kick butt every day is about that one word called consistency.
Absolutely.
You have good days, you have bad days, but
Showing up.
keep showing up.
Yeah.
And if there is anything about Vivek Karunakaran, not as me, but I'm saying as a brand, as a person, I've shown up every day. And I'm saying that only because I feel this is a very beautiful, safe space for me to share. In our industry, we are often misunderstood that our industry is not just about glitz, glamour, fashion, parties, so far and so on. I start early and I finish really late. And I'm not ideally saying that that is how everyone's life should be, but it is about turning up and giving your best every single day. So if there is anything that I'd love to share, I would say that it is about being committed to what you believe in and not doubting yourself. Because there are many things that is going to come on the way in terms of your surrounding, instances, family, friends, competition, which is going to make you doubt yourself. But that is when you need to look yourself in the mirror and say, I got it.
Great, thank you for that, Vivek. As a fellow entrepreneur, it's very, very inspiring. We all need to keep inspiring each other. I just want to, go back to this one point about, you said that, instantly it's easy to dislike this city, right? And often I find people saying that, including me sometimes, who says that there's not enough inspiration in this city. You're writing about the same people, in terms of, all the best advertising agencies are located elsewhere, there are no big brands. Like, there's so many things that we're complaining about. In the context of fashion, who have been your peers, right? And how have you really sort of, managed to sort of stand out, but also in a certain way find community?
Akila, from day one, I think my thought process has always been, with all due respect to everyone that has been beside me and alongside me, to be my own competition. From day one, I remember this. As in, for me, it is so important to outdo myself.
Yeah, you're your biggest.
Because, that's the way I look at it. And in the journey, you also meet a lot of very inspiring people, and not just fashion, from different facets of life. And I think, if going back to the question that you asked, what would you share? If you have this quality in you to be able to be humble enough to tell someone that you still have a lot of space in you for someone else to pour, you're going to grow like nobody's business. But you need to allow that.
Yeah, you need to be vulnerable.
That aura, yes, that aura that you have with everything that you know and everything that you achieved has to be about being humble and wanting to learn more. And I think that is the key to growth, and that is what is going to make all the difference.
Right. I know this sounds like a really cliche question, and I'm really not a fan of that. But, as a designer, Vivek, where do you look around in this city? Because this is a Super Chennai Arattai.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, in this city, where do you look around to find inspiration for design and for fashion, really?
Since it's a cliched question, I'm going to give you a cliched answer. It's all around you.
Okay,
But
great.
having said that, I feel that there is so much beauty around you in every, I was just walking up the stairs. I was telling Shreya, look at this tree. Look at that banyan tree which you crossed. As in, it's so beautiful. Like this, I think there is so much around you, and I'm not just talking about Chennai. And if you actually look, as in keep your eyes wide open, there is so much beauty that you can drown yourself in all around you. And as cliched as they say, beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
But speaking about Chennai specifically, I feel that that city has a charm of its own, which is so culturally rooted, but very interestingly, it has some edging of a modernity to it. And I think that is the city that I have grown into through the time that I've been here. And I think this is a city where it very beautifully coexists. And I just hope it stays that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You, as a designer, but also as a commentator, Vivek, what would you say is the fashion scene in the city right now, and how has it really shifted from the time that you started?
Well, I remember my biggest grouse was walking around and finding people really not bothered about what they were wearing, right? And this is the truth of the matter.
Yeah.
I still feel it continues to be a certain way only because of the fact that the laid-back nature of the city makes you believe that it is okay, right? Well, on one side, yes, the laid-back nature is great because I think it also gives the city a certain kind of identity because of that. But maybe in fashion or style, if I may say so, I think it's very important to know how you want to represent yourself, right? You can't expect to be taken seriously if you do not take care of yourself. Now, style is just a part of yourself.
Right.
So when I'm saying style, it starts with your personal grooming. As in, you don't expect to walk into a place and have someone take you seriously if you're not well presented, right? Now, clothes is just a part of that. As in, I see it that way. Now, the moment you start paying attention to detail, you see the jigsaw comes together to create something very beautiful. And Chennai, over the years, through the first generation, second and third generation, the money, the business that is kind of very beautifully evolved, I see that people are a lot more traveled. The exposure has become a lot more than what it used to be. They are very brand conscious. Sometimes I would say a little too brand conscious. That they believe in wearing, these logos, big fat logos on their chest, which I'm not a fan of. And you see that at least there is a bunch of people who are extremely fashion forward, and I think they are the influencers of style today. And that's very refreshing to see, and it's also very refreshing when you have someone visiting Chennai and have perhaps a few good things to say because they've gone to the right places and seen the right people wearing the right clothes to say, Chennai is not so bad.
Right.
So it's that's a welcome change from saying, oh my God, Chennai.
Right.
Yeah.
In many ways, therefore, also, Vivek, it is a non-judgmental city.
Yeah.
Right? It lets you be. We're coming back to that. But also, in the context of fashion is also all about possibilities. Right? So has this idea of non-judgmental in some way worked in your favor? Because has the city really also responded to what you've created with a great sense of openness? And have they sort of welcomed what it is, and they've been willing to try what you've created?
You're going to be shocked to hear this.
Okay.
The answer is no.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
Thank you. I wish the city did more.
City did more, okay.
And I hope that platforms like this will allow us to do more. Because I think it's very important to be proud of one of us. We always look forward to having someone from Bombay and Delhi come and do, whether it is our events or anything, right?
Absolutely.
Whether it's weddings, you call designers, and events, you call someone else. But that's changing now. But I'm saying that I wish the city did more, because there would have been more Akilas, more Ranjits, more Vivek Karunakarans, more Sid Ganariwalas, more Prashant Karches sitting around here. At least, I'm sorry, with all due respect to everyone else around, at least the people I know, I'm saying. Now, I believe it is so important to shop local. We have to look around us and see who you can support, who you can build, who you can take along with you. That is what is truly going to change Chennai. Right?
Absolutely.
It is not about just the infrastructure and so far and so on. I believe that the canvas of the city lies in how we are able to help each other grow. Because that is truly what is going to change the scape of the city.
No, that's a really, really very candid answer, and I really appreciate you for saying that. Yeah, I mean, I think the city needs many more, like you rightly said.
And you know, I'm sorry, I just
Go
wanted
ahead,
to add, Akhila, that I have seen people transform from, 19 years ago to now. Like how you were not taken seriously to suddenly, you, as in, they have very nice things to say and so far and so on. I just, the where I'm coming from is the fact that there is so many youngsters around you, and it is our job to spot that fire and fuel them. It is our job.
Yeah.
Don't wait for them to come to you.
Yeah.
The moment you see a spark, be the fuel, and you'll see maybe like at least 5 out of 10 you'll have. I think there is so much there.
Gosh, Vivek, this is the inspiration I really needed for the day. I was running really low on that department.
When I started off on my journey, I decided that I am not going to allow a press photographer to take my picture. I think I have evolved as a person through this journey of being a son. I'm the only child. And being a boyfriend, and then a husband, and then a dad.
Your favorite Tamil word?
Araga.
Okay. Will that be the name of your next collection, perhaps?